Hey guys, this is Daniel Dr. D, and I don't normally come out and do little rants like this, but it is comical what's going on. I know it doesn't feel comical to Aaron over at Aaron's Audio Corner, who does a YouTube channel. I'm sure some of you know about this little feud that's going on with Eric over at Tekton Design, who designs speakers. And it's really funny because the way this is unfolded, it's kind of it's a quite fascinating, quite frankly. I feel bad for Aaron over at Aaron's corner because he really does seem like a nice man. And one of the things I like about him, even though I don't normally follow him, is that if he's one of few people, I think there's only several people in the industry that do measurements, him being one of them. And one of the things that he does is that I think he from what I gather, listening to him, he listens to the gear that he tests, so to see if there's any correlation between the anomalies that he hears and what he measures. And I think if you're going to measure something, that's probably a good way to do it, I would think. The issue with this whole debacle, this whole situation that's weird is this. Mount Everest. Can you imagine threatening litigation over something that looks like this? Mount Everest. I mean, that's basically what it looked like on the chart. And I'm kind of thinking, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's it's nuts, man. Some of these people are so extreme with things, and I bet if you were to measure my tube amp, it'd probably measure bad. I don't care. It sounds beautiful. I don't go based on measurements. I respect if people want to do measurements and stuff, but to get so irrational over something like that, I just thought it was a bit nuts. And I think had Eric over at Tekton just approached Aaron nicely about his video, I think it would be fine and get things worked out. But the way I think that Eric approached this was not the correct method. And I think if you look in the forums, which I've linked below, you'll see that it's overwhelming how many people disagree with the way Eric at Tekton had dealt with this situation. And apparently Eric made a couple of videos explaining his side of the story, and those videos apparently got pulled. I don't know if that's just anecdotal from what I heard, but apparently a couple of YouTube channels maybe screen recorded it or something, I don't know, and posted it, because it looks like the actual videos are on somebody else's couple of other websites. I've linked those below. You guys can see what's going on with the whole thing. And the first time I heard about it was on Hi-Fi Cave. Hi-Fi Cave came out and did his thing on it, and I loved the way he did it because, with his hat sideways and everything, because, here, I'm gonna put mine on sideways so I can join his little clan. Because it really is, it's silly, what happened with this thing. And I think that it's terrible to put somebody like Aaron in that position. I can understand Aaron's concern. You have you go into work and you get this email, and my understanding on that video is there was nothing that was derogatory or unconstructive. It was an anomaly. I mean, literally, like I said, Mount Everest here, it looked like something like this I couldn't believe it, And he posted the video. It's fine, just get it worked out. I think Tekton would have been much better off, in a much better position, had they approached it that way. And I'll tell you, I can relate to this whole thing in the telescope industry because my speciality is telescopes. And, I've been looking through telescopes for 30 years. I've looked through Schmidt Cassegrains, Dahl-Kirkham Cassegrains, classical Cassegrains, Newtonian, Mac Newtonians, Maxutov Cassegrains, Newtonians, Apo refractors, and it just goes on, right? And you get these people now in the forums that are just really into all these little technical details, right? They bicker over wavefront errors, stroke ratios, glass types, and everything. And you can tell by listening and reading this stuff how little experience people have at observation, because that is a huge learning experience that you can't learn just by reading stuff. You can't buy experience. You can't buy that over that period of time when you evaluate different things, you just learn. If people want to go on measurements with audio, then fine. But it's just weird when people get so overreactive. And I think Eric at Tekton had claimed that he lost a couple of sales or something, but there's no evidence that was because of what Aaron did. And I think my guess is what really set off Eric at Tekton was Amir over at Audio Science Review. And I have to admit, I have not had the best experience with Amir myself. And I think part of the problem with Amir is that he comes down hard on some of the companies and sometimes unconstructively. And when he does measurements, there's oftentimes when he doesn't even listen to the gear, and that is kind of strange to me. And the thing I like about Aaron, even though I don't, rely on measurements for any of my decision making, is because at least Aaron, he seems like a real gentleman, and he does listen to the gear, and I think that's important. And then you get these fights going on in the forums and everything, but I did not really like the way that Eric handled the situation over at Tekton, and I honestly didn't like the way Amir handled things. But I have great respect for Aaron at Aaron's Audio Corner, and I wish him the best. I'm really sorry that he had to deal with this. You guys can be the judges yourself. You can look at what's on there below in the description and see what you think. But I think, once again, I want to reiterate, I think it's going to be tough. If Eric had approached this more constructively, it would have been way better for him. But I don't know how this is not going to affect his business, because he's getting a lot of heat for what he did. And I hate to say it, he brought it on himself with his irrational email, which I felt was pretty appalling towards Aaron at Aaron's Audio Corner. So you guys can take a look. Sorry to get distracted with this kind of thing, but hey, it's just one of those things that happens in the industry. I have nothing against Tekton. I've heard good things about him. Actually, I have a friend who's got a pair. He loves them. Anyway, we'll be back at you soon, and wish you all the best. Happy listening. Take care.